What's going on, everyone? We are back with some more Set 7 decks, and we've got Jhin Red today. Guys, every single deck that we have been playing lately, and to be honest, basically the meta is Aggressive Negotiations. This is another Aggressive Negotiations deck. It is very much revolving around that game plan with Jhin, getting you to draw some extra cards, a little bit of some extra flavor here, but that is the game plan. Before we dive into the full list, a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon, guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and getting some games in with me for our pre-release. It was a lot of fun. But Jhin today, it is probably the most hated card right now. Aggressive Negotiations, that is. And Jin's action to pay one, if a friendly rebel, is defeated this phase, you can search the top 3 cards of your deck and draw one of them cards, is really, really nice. Not only to expand your hand size for Aggressive Negotiations, but also to enable Ray. Ray, as we've seen with, for example, like some of the old Force decks with like Owen Lars on turn 1, where you could potentially search for a Force card and grab it. Jhin is somewhat interesting just because there's no limitation on what card you pick. Rather, the limitation is actually on the ability to activate the ability in the first place. You do get to draw some extra cards on the flip side. A 3/6 isn't super exciting, but it definitely makes up for it in the fact that it pumps up the Aggressive Negotiations. Not only with Ray, but we also have Rebellious Hammerhead as a payoff for some extra cards in hand. But really, it is like, if you draw Aggressive Negotiations, it becomes really obnoxious. If you don't, it's kind of just a decent Rebel aggro deck. We are running the Ignoring Aspect base for Kanan. Kanan is just a broken card, guys. I've mentioned this so many times, but Kanan and Zeb are incredibly powerful. Now, Zeb is not a splash in this deck, but in others it will be. Honestly, I've looked around, maybe we want to slot in something else. Usually if I'm playing one of these bases, I like 2 cards that are really worthwhile to play for the sacrifice of 3 HP, but you can kind of think of Kanan as, pay 3 life, play this card. Is that worth it? And it absolutely is. It absolutely is. Now, there are situations where we won't draw Kanan, but Jhin, I keep saying Ray, but Jhin does help out with that. There is much more likelihood for us to find a Kanan to pick up. On top of that, we are running just a bunch of Rebels, some of the standard ones that we're typically used to, but we do have some new additions that aren't Rebels, and some of them are. Things like Bodhi Rook and Cinta, these ones are Rebels as additions. We've got Chio Fane help us draw some more cards, and some other kind of like random additions. Sudden Ferocity is a nice flip with Jhin. It doesn't give you the ability to go like Sudden Ferocity and Aggressive Negotiations, but, a 6/6 leader can put in some pressure. And the important thing about Aggressive Negotiations is that every single card on the battlefield is suddenly a extremely scary threat. An extremely scary threat. If you have 9, 10 cards in hand, it's suddenly hitting for 8 or 9 damage, right? That is insane. So that is the game plan today. We're going to see how we pull off here. I know a lot of people have been excited about this. And, well, let's dive into some games. Okay, into game number 1 here. We have double Ray in hand, which I don't like. The hand is okay. I got the turn 1 play. I think we could do better because we have a lot of turn 1 plays, and I'd much rather find something that doesn't immediately, sacrifice the Ray potential for the rest of the game. They're going to, I'll let them deal 2 damage to the Bodhi. I think that's okay. Another Outer Rim Constable. I think I'll just resource that. We'll go ahead and attack you with Bodhi. If they try to deal damage, I think I'm just going to let them draw a card. I want to play Ezra. I think I definitely go with red 5 here just because I'll have Kanan. They can draw. We're going to go red 5. Opponent might be kind of all-in on Daedra. Wow, they're doing nothing here. They're doing absolutely nothing here. This is kind of how some of the games go. Your opponent, against Daedra, they just deploy nothing, try to use their Daedra action, draw a couple of cards. I will say it can be a little bit tricky in matchups like this. Tie Dagger Vanguard, very, very solid one for them. Very, very solid. Could bounce that, but I don't think I really care to. I think I'll just get in for 3. Draw a card. We will pick up, I suppose, an X-Wing here. And then we'll play Ezra. So my opponent is an Aggressive Negotiations deck as well. This is just how the meta goes. Like, Aggressive Negotiations is just, every single deck is just an Aggressive Negotiations deck. Got another Ezra here. Got a Chio. I mean, I've got Kanan as a potential deploy. I might go... I think we just knock out both units here. I could hit 3 to base, but remember, Aggressive Negotiations is kind of the kicker here. Shoot down, huh? All right, you know what? Let's go ahead and just draw a card. Ooh, Ray. Actually, you know what? We'd have to deal 2 damage to a unit, so I probably shouldn't even take in Ray. I mean, it doesn't really matter because the other cards wouldn't have been that great. Ooh, they have another answer. Okay. Decent stuff for them. Go ahead and grab, let's grab Ziton Moj, actually. And then let's just drop down the Ziton Moj here. See what my opponent wants to do. No rebel unit's going to die this phase, most likely. Condemn, huh? Should have kept the Outer Rim Constables, huh? I can go Chio Fane plus Red Squadron. So that's probably what I'll do. They could deal some damage. I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and drop the X-Wing. I'm going to claim initiative. Let's go Chio Fane. We'll pass. Ziton Moj Part 2. I think here is where we start just keeping all of our cards in hand. Remember, Aggressive Negotiations is basically the win con in every single situation. I missed out on 3 damage by not going for the attack instead of drawing a card first. I was kind of stalling in action just to see what they were going to do, but you know what? We're gonna hit with Ziton Moj first. I know I could attack with Chio. Ooh, topple the summit, huh? Very, very solid for them. Let's go with Ziton Moj again. Let's attack. Let's see if they happen to have... Okay, they do. You know what? I will go ahead and deploy out 2 cards here. And I will go ahead and resource a card because I want to be able to deploy 2 cards here again. Looking like a single reactor ignition type of game plan. If they don't have it, I'm pretty happy. Argument that I should have just allowed them to draw a card at that point, but the way I think about it is single reactor ignition is the only card here that can answer truly what we're doing. Wow, unlucky that we keep drawing these Rays in these situations, huh? All right, let's grab an Ezra here. There's our 3rd Ray. We'll see if they have another single reactor ignition. It's possible they could. Okay. They're going to hit in for some damage here. We'll see where. Okay, I mean, we're going to go Aggressive Negotiations, and then I suppose we can deploy Cinta. Should have used the Jin action before. Just a little bit of a missequence there. We can resource a Ray. I mean, either one of these things is going to be lethal. The Persecutor's not going to do it. Gonna have to have a single reactor ignition, most likely. Big Sentinel, something of that nature. All right. Yeah, Aggressive Negotiations in. I mean, that's just kind of how these games go, I mean, my opponent, if they had Aggressive Negotiations, maybe they were able to do something else, but, as you said, that card is just dumb. I mean, this is just... any deck that is just focused in on this card. I mean, like I said, missequenced a lot of things there. There was, really 3 different things that I could have potentially done differently. And of course, I could have just gotten extra damage with Aggressive Negotiations last round. But it just doesn't feel like it matters with Aggressive Negotiations. And, this is something where, if you're playing a deck that draws cards or like cards that reinforce that game plan, it's pretty easy just to win. It is pretty easy just to win. And there you go. I mean, again, I didn't even feel like I needed to try that hard because I was just going to one-shot them. And that's just kind of how Control struggles. I made my video the other day. This is exactly what happens. They kill a unit, wipe, kill a unit. Who cares? Doesn't matter. My aggressive negotiations hits you for 15, and then it's GG. Into the next game, we got Vader Green. I wonder if this is I don't know. We'll see. But probably an aggressive negotiations deck again. It's a little bit scary to keep Chiofane up against, this type of game plan. I'm gonna keep because we got a decent hand here. I think I like Karis and I like Chio. My opponent's probably an aggressive negotiations deck. They're probably gonna try to flip Vader and one-shot us. I just don't think it matters. I just don't think it really matters. We'll see if they have like that's a rock discard and deal 2 damage to the Chio. We are giving them fuel with the Chio, but I am okay with that. I'm going to resource the other Chio. I'm going to make us both draw a card here. Outer Rim Constable could potentially be good in like Vigilance matchups, but I don't think, up against what my opponent's doing, it's going to be all that relevant. Unless they do something crazy. Okay, in this case, I'm just going to go Cinta. Just a nice use of resources. It was a good draw. I was thinking, okay, maybe if my opponent's got an answer for something here, we can go ahead and draw a card and play Karis Nemec, but not too worried about that. Resource the other Cinta, because we can play Ezra. Keep our options open a little bit. Make us both draw a card here. There's our second aggressive negotiation, so looking pretty good for us. I mean, this is just what the games are, I mean, this is just how the games are, Another aggressive negotiations is exactly what we want to see. We can play Outer Rim, Karis Nemec. I think we just hit him for 3, and then we just play out the Ezra. And then next turn, we can go aggressive negotiations. I mean, I could have technically used aggressive negotiations, but I'm a little bit worried about my opponent could potentially have here. So, okay, there is an expendable mercenary. We'll go ahead and play our unit here, even though I potentially could just take initiative here and be fine. Set of Ferocity is also pretty good, but I think we're just going to aggressive negotiations in, and that's going to be kind of it. We'll rely on this Chio. We will resource something just so we can deploy Jin. They haven't used their Darth Vader ability. I think Outer Rim maybe has an opportunity to do something. Oh my gosh, what a draw. I mean, that is suddenly, a +5/+0, says attack in for approximately 1 million. And then, yeah, I mean, what does my opponent realistically do? What does my opponent realistically do? Okay. They're going to go for my units now. I mean, we will just draw some cards, I mean, my opponent can't have aggressive negotiations, but something we have to think about. Like, if they were to, let's say, claim initiative right now, we'd have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So their aggressive negotiation would hit for 8, which is 1 point short of lethal with the 000, right? That said, I mean, we have lethal on board, so unless they have multiple answers, I mean, I think I just deploy Jin. Don't even bother with the action, right? Just get another unit down. But, I mean, I don't see with 5 resources what they could have. Yeah, I just claim I have another aggressive negotiations in hand, Again, if they have their own aggressive negotiations, I have to consider that opportunity. Or, like, if they, let's say they went with something different where and they may not have had this, and if they did, they probably would have just claimed initiative. But let's say they had Cinta, in the resource pile. They could have deployed Vader, immediately attacked, discarded everything, and that would have been lethal, I think. Right? They had 7, they'd have 8 cards, they discarded all, it's an attack for 14. It would have been exactly lethal, which would have been pretty sick. So that would have been cool, but you know, Vader has some explosive potential for sure. For sure. Good game. Okay, into the next one. We've got ourselves. I mean, I don't even know what to expect out of Barris Blue. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity, but you know, do I want to keep this hand? I feel like I could do it better. I think there's a lot of kind of weird cards in that hand that I'm not super excited about. You know, honestly, this hand isn't that great either. We're looking for an aggression card, like red 5 would be awesome on turn 2. You know, 3 drops. You know, it's very similar to our prior hand. I mean, at least we have the power in Kanan to potentially fall back on. But you can always just drop in like Ziton Moj and be chilling. Still have a turn 1 play, which is nice. And we have a lot of turn 1 play, so I'd be surprised if we didn't have one available. Okay. I actually think this is a situation where Ziton's going to be pretty mediocre. Let's give Sentinel a Bodhi, just so that they have to attack Bodhi here. Get rid of the shield token. I think that's going to be a little bit more relevant here. We're going to go red 5. They've got Cicatro. Okay, let's claim. Another Bodhi, another red 5. Probably going to be interested in... I am not going to give him Sentinel. I want to have them have the active choice to attack the Bodhi, because I think if they make the decision to attack my base, I am happy with that, because I have the Kanan in hand. You know, if I didn't have Kanan in hand, it might have been a little bit different, but like, let's say they try to attack base with the Cicatro, you know, to avoid any potential damage on him. Or maybe they just attack my Bodhi with Secretive Sage immediately. They got Talzin's Assassin. So Talzin's Assassin, you know, I think it does make things a little bit interesting for us. I think I actually want to go with a different game plan now. Instead of going to Kanan, I want to go X-Wing to draw a card, and then draw another card with Jin. They can draw a card. I don't really care. Ooh, Rey. Yep. That's a great pickup here. Okay. Aggressive Negotiations. That's all I care about. That's the only card I want to see. Anyways. Zeb doesn't quite kill anything right now, but we can deploy Kanan for the bounce effect. Bouncing the Talzin Assassin or the Cicatro, which is both good. And then if something dies here, that will work out for us as well. I think the Cicatro is a little bit more valuable for them, because if they, let's say, attack Kanan and kill it, I'm okay with losing units, because that does allow me to draw 2 additional cards for Aggressive Negotiations because of Jin here. Okay. They can... You know, I think we'll let them draw Qui-Gon here. Let's just get in for 3. We'll see what they want to do, because they could potentially go for that Sentinel gameplay. And if they do, Kanan also works for that. If they kill off like red 5, for example, yeah, there's the Qui-Gon. So that's kind of what I was expecting. And that's totally okay, because now we have the Kanan to bounce it. And okay, gonna grab second sister. Now they have Talzin's Assassin. So now we play Kanan. If they choose to attack Kanan, great. You know, that is totally okay, because we can then kill the Talzin's Assassin with the red 5 anyways. But then, more importantly, we get to draw with Jin and then draw again with the Jin attack. But we will see what they decide to do. I think in honesty, like they probably shouldn't even bother. Okay, hold on. So I attack for 3, right? I kill off Red Squadron X-Wing, which gives me 2 additional cards. Is that worth it? So I attack him for 3. I go up to 7 cards in hand. Next turn I go to 9, so it's +8, which means it's not quite lethal. I don't think... Is it worth it? Is it worth it to kill off one of my own units? I don't think so for the +2 damage. I don't think it's worth it. I'm going to claim initiative. Oops. We're going to deploy Jin. I'm going to get in for 3. We're going to pass. And then, let's see, 6 damage. I suppose if we did do that, then we would have lethal with 1 attack here. So maybe it was worth it. I just felt like maybe they have something to deal with units. You know, they haven't been using their Barriss ability all that much. They could always have aggressive negotiations out of aspect, which hits for, 6, 10, which isn't quite enough to finish out the game. You know, it's very common just to see aggressive negotiations every single place you look, right? Oh, well, that also works. I think there's an argument to, go for the kill on the X-Wing to draw 2 and then go in for that final point here, since we do get the attack in with Jin, which does make it lethal. But I think in this spot, it's pretty rare for either way to go wrong, to be honest. Since we can't, it's not like we can attack request negotiations anyways with that exact turn. So, but probably is worth it just to kill off the X-Wing draw 2. I was 1 point short of my math there when I was doing some quick math. Next up, we've got Talzin Yellow, it looks like. Definitely a popular one to run these days. A Stranger is such a fun card. I mean, it is just such a fun card. The hand isn't that exciting. We have a red 5. We have a Karis. We don't have like any other big payouts. We have 1 Ray in hand. I think I'm going to mulligan. Outer Rim Constable could potentially be decent. I think we'll resource the Chio. Okay, they got Secretive Sage. We'll go with Chio here. Second Sun and Ferocity we will draw. We're just going to resource that. And then we will see what my opponent wants to do. Constructed Lightsaber, huh? I think we'll just defeat it. I think I'm okay with that. They can obviously knock out that unit if they want. Okay, they're going to gain the Force here, which is fine. I mean, this is like a kind of an even trade, because what's going to happen is I can use Chio to kill off the Secretive Sage so they can't generate the Force, which is going to be pretty relevant here since they're not going to be able to play like if I ignore this, let's say, and they attack base and pick Talzin Assassin, they just kill my unit anyway. So this just seems more valuable. There's a Shin, seems decent. Do I want to go with Red Squadron X-Wing? I mean, they can generate the Force. I draw another card. I think I just go with Red 5 here, actually, over Red Squadron. We'll pass. There's a Zeb. That could actually do some decent work here. Getting rid of the shield token and everything. Okay, there's the Force Generation. I think we'll just get in for 3 here. This is the ideal situation for us to come up against for sure. Like, I think I'd much rather have had a situation where I could have played a different card on turn 2, but the Constructed Lightsaber obviously prevented us from attacking, and they were just going to take over the game with that. So Outer Rim Constable was pretty clutch in that specific spot. They've got Darth Tyrannus, seems good here. Let's deploy Jin. We'll see what my opponent wants to do with this Talzin attack. They can shrink down Jin, attack it even. Okay, they're going to go with that game plan. Let's go ahead and draw. Ooh, Ray is a good draw. Quite an excellent draw, honestly. There's Finn. They're going to be able to get a shield to nothing here since they don't have anything left. It's going to go aggressive negotiations in. That's +6/+0. Next turn it's +7/0. Go ahead and draw a card. Let's claim. Oh my gosh, what a draw. Well, I mean, if you draw 3 of them, I think this game was going to be pretty hard. Just because, you know, my opponent's got a lot of value here. Finn ended up being pretty good here. Killing off my Jin. They had the Darth Tyrannus, which killed off my other unit. They had a lot of shielded units that ended up being very, very strong. You know what? We're just going to play out another space unit. And now we have 2 lethal threats. So my opponent's got to have an answer for both of them. They're going to attack. They're going to attack again. And then maybe they have a sentinel or something. I suppose I could have played a ground unit. Nope, they got Beguile. So they got Beguile, so they had an answer. Space unit was the way to go. Ground unit's risky because obviously they can just kill it. But yeah, I mean, this is just a aggressive negotiation win, right? Like, we drew 3 of them. Card's dumb. My opponent had a great curve out. You know, I mean, Secret Station and Constructor Lightsaber. We had the Outer Rim Constable, which, you know, obviously was better than not having it, but it's not the ideal play I would like to make. But then they went with Shin into, you know, the Talzin deploy into Darth Tyrannus, into Finn. I mean, ambush, 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 deal with your unit, deal with your unit. Very, very potentially strong, you know, curve out, and it was. But we had aggressive negotiations. And we just win. The Ray was also very good there. We wouldn't have been able to kill off Talzin without it, and that did give us the option to win. So Ray was very clutch there. Into the next game, got ourselves a pretty good hand. You know, I'm going to resource the... You know, honestly, Zeb probably weak because my opponent's not going to be playing ground units. Got Chiyo Fane on turn 1. We've got the potential red 5 here. I think Zid Moj can be a resource. I think I'm going to be playing Kanan, even if, you know, my opponent kills off like red 5, for example, and we can't draw a bounce of 4 cost unit. I'm totally okay with that. Red 5 coming in. We'll see what my opponent's got. They've got their own red 5. We are going to claim. I think just immediately we will play Kanan here to bounce the red 5. Get that thing out of there. See what my opponent wants to do as a follow-up. Just prevent the extra 2 damage coming into the Chiyo so that they have to have some other card to deal with it. I think that's worthwhile. If we attack with Chiyo, you know, we'll get the damage in at least, but okay, there's Luke. Okay, I mean, we're going to get in for 3 here with the red 5. Outer Rim Constable is like okay against that. It's not like the greatest. I like our situation though. I mean, they're going to be able to get in a lot of damage, and they will have a potential. I mean, if I'm playing red, I'm playing Arrest Negotiations because of cards like Chiyo Fane, so they could potentially do some major work against us, right? It's certainly possible. But I'm feeling okay with where we're at right now. Claim, we got Red Squadron. I mean, there's no aggressive negotiations that we've drawn so far, which is, you know, a little bit unfortunate in that regard, but that's okay. I think what I'll do is I will play the Outer Rim Constable here. They can choose, yep, to bring it down, which is okay. And then we will play, I suppose, the Red Squadron. No aggressive negotiations. Obviously, it's our whole deck. So we can't really race unless we have that card, period. they're gonna play the red 5 out. I think I will kill off their A-wing here. They're not gonna be able to use the Luke Skywalker action. So we'll see what they decide to do. They're gonna claim. All right, let's go ahead and kill Luke, attack, draw a card, or sudden ferocity, so I can think we will deploy Jin, put sudden ferocity on Jin, attack for 6. We do need to get a little bit of extra damage in here for sure. And I will resource because we, Rebellious Hammerhead is important. They're going to get in a bunch of damage, presumably. They probably have like Cinta or something. They don't have anything, huh? So I can go Rebellious Hammerhead in for 5. So I think in this spot, I will just go ahead and hit the red 5. Hot shot maneuver. Wow. Okay. They're going to get 4 damage times 2. I mean, that is incredible. That is an incredible, situation. Oh, wow. Mistake. I meant to attack with Jin first and then play the Rebellious Hammer, but that's fine. Mistake. That's one of those things where I just clicking too fast. Get in for 6. I mean, hot shot maneuver is pretty cool. That was pretty cool. They killed 3 units, one attack. That's pretty awesome. We'll see. I mean, if we draw a ray off of Jin, still good. But definitely misclicked that. Should have attacked with the Jin first. We got blue leader. They're gonna bring it down to the ground, trade with Jin, and then we'll be trading off here. I suppose seems reasonable. Let's go ahead and resource the Ezra here. We just attack trade. They've got Sabine's masterpiece. We go, I guess, with units. Kanan's gonna be expensive. It's gonna be 6. I guess we just go with Zeb. There's the red 5. So what do I want? Aggressive negotiations in hits for 6. So it's 10. I think we still need to stall out a little bit. Let's go with Kanan. We will bounce the Sabine's masterpiece. I mean, they could also have aggressive negotiations, which will win the game for them for sure. There's a Resistance Blue Squadrons. They're going to be able to hit the Zeb. So we hit in for 4. They kill Zeb. We draw a card. And then, we hit... Yeah, I mean, we have to claim now. We can't even draw a card. Chewbacca is pretty good here. Get another damage in. There's another Kanan, but not quite enough. Aggressive negotiations only hits for, it would have hit for 7. So we're 1 point of damage short. Not 1 point of damage short. We're 1 point damage short with that aggressive negotiations. If I had not, it doesn't matter. But so I could have gotten up to 29. I think if I attack with Jin, that would have been 6 damage into base. They had blue leader. I don't know what else they could have had, right? But that missequence prevented the attack with Jin for 6 damage. So definitely a mistake there for sure. And that probably cost us the game just because I was too fast to click. But that's just what happens sometimes, you're just too hypey in the game. It's one of those things where in paper never happens, right? But when you're playing Caravas, I could undo, right? I could undo, but She's not an undue person. Good game. Into the next game here. Up against Vader. I'm going to mulligan this one. I'm not super excited about it. This hand's also very bad. Wow. Yeah, very, very, very bad hand here. Little bit unfortunate. I mean, we can go Outer Rim Constable. They'll discard a card to kill it, I suppose, but there's not really anything else that we can do. Discard a card, kill my Outer Rim Constable. You know, do their thing. Oh, they're not even going to. Nice. Rebellious Hammerhead could be good. I think I have to resource that, actually. Let's get in with the Outer Rim Constable. I'm going to make us both draw a card. Nice. I'm surprised they're not. I mean, maybe they're just fully on aggressive negotiations, ignore everything, who cares type of deal. Knowledge and defense is good. We got Kane in here, but honestly, you know, maybe I just. Oh man, it's tough. It's tough. Maybe I resource the Bodhi and go with a different game plan, but you know, I think I'm just gonna draw an extra card here, see if my opponent kills off a unit. If they do, I draw another card. They've got Watto. Okay, Watto's good. Okay, lots of cards here. Let's just go with the Kanan. Oh, man. I think I actually go with Zeb here and hit Watto. I'd love to draw an additional card here, but not exactly in the cards. I mean, aggressive negotiations or bust is really what this game comes down to, right? My opponent deploys Vader, they one-shot us. If we draw aggressive negotiations first, you know, before they get to 7 resources, so we're not out there yet, then it becomes a little bit more interesting, but we'll see what my opponent's got. They're going to go experience here. Let's go ahead and attack in for 3 with the X-Wing. I was hoping for the experience because then if I deploy Jin, I can draw an additional card. And the important thing about drawing, oh, there it is. That is what I'm looking for. The important thing with Jin is that I can search, right? So I can try to find something that will actually allow me to go ahead and get that aggressive negotiations. But this is a much better spot to be in. I will deploy Jin still, even though they do have the IG, which can one-shot my Jin. Right now, all we care about is aggressive negotiations. So right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's 9 damage. Yeah, I think we just let's think about this. 12 damage. It technically is lethal with just an attack from 2 of these guys. However, I have a Karastemic. Yeah. We just gotta keep all cards in hand here. We'll see what they decide to do. Yeah, they got aggressive negotiations themselves. That is okay. Do they have a second one is the question. Okay, how do I play this? If they have a second one, they hit in for 6, 9. It's not lethal. It's not lethal, right? 3, 7, that's 6, that's 9. It's not lethal. So we can just attack in. And then we kill them. They could technically discard a card to deal 1 damage to a base, but that would require another action, and we just kill them on this action. Always scary, guys. This is aggressive. This is just the meta. It's just aggressive negotiations everywhere you go. This is just... Yep, there's the other aggressive negotiations. It's 9 damage. You know, this is... I mean, these are just every game. This is every game. You know, you got to be scared about the aggressive negotiations. They were 1 point of damage short, but of course they didn't use their Vader at all. Like, it's as if they didn't have a leader. Now, to be fair, Jin really didn't do a whole lot for us. It did draw us 1 extra card, but in this particular circumstance, that wouldn't necessarily have mattered because my opponent was on the racing situation. So like in this game, it's like we play with no leaders, right? Because they didn't really kill our units, so we could use the Jin action earlier. We could draw one extra card with Jin, but if this was like a different leader with an extra power, it would have been like the same circumstance, you know. I mean, but like in other games, Jin's been amazing, but you know, this game was pure aggressive negotiations, nothing else. And Chio Fein from our opponent, right? Chio Fein from our opponent making aggressive negotiations just insane. And that was it. That was the game. I mean, there was like no interaction whatsoever. Didn't care about what was going on. We just hit their base and we aggressive negotiations. And this is just what it is now, right? Good game. Alrighty, we get to run it back here. I will keep this hand. I think Sinta's the resource. Rebellious Hammerhead could be relevant. I think the red 5 is not as exciting here. I like to draw additional cards here with the Jin, because obviously this matchup, if they get to the Vader, we basically just lose. Rebellious Hammerhead could be relevant because at the Vader deploy, it might be that we have, you know, 8 or 9 cards in hand, so we can deploy Rebellious Hammerhead and just kill the Vader. So that is another dynamic that we can go for potentially. But like the last match, this is an aggressive negotiations match, so we just want to find aggressive negotiations. So that's what we're going to be doing. We'll see if they've got like a Chio Fein here to deploy on turn 1. If they do, then Karis dies, you know, and we potentially play another 2-drop, draw a card, and then, you know, get the spy token and get an attack in. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully my opponent is here, because taking a little bit for the turn 1 here. Let's see what they've got. Okay, they've got HK47. HK47, that's fine. I'm going to go Karis here. They're going to claim initiative. We've got a Chio Fein. That seems like a pretty solid one, actually. I think I'm going to resource the Zidton Moj here. They're going to, yep. Makes sense. We'll reveal. We'll go ahead and hit in for 2 into base. They've got Night Sister Warrior. We'll go ahead and draw a card. We'll grab, I suppose, the Rebellious Hammerhead. We'll play Chio, pass. There's a Ray. Don't really care for that. See what my opponent does. Probably knocks out the spy token. Yep, sure. Let's go ahead and hit draw some cards here. Hana, huh? Let's go with Sabine's Masterpiece. They're going to claim. We're going to pass. Cinta resource here. Might go with Zidton Moj. Yeah, let's go Zidton here. Could potentially deal with Sabine's Masterpiece, and this could backfire a little bit, but I'm kind of hoping I'll get an attack in to just deal the 1 damage. My opponent being able to restore 2 is a little bit obnoxious here. Let's go ahead and attack in. I will kill the HK off. Maybe that's what they were hoping for. Okay, they've got, wow. Yeah, very different game than typically I'd expect with my opponent here. There's another Ray. I think we just go Rebellious Hammerhead on the Canto Bite. We get Rebellious Hammerhead, Canto Bite down. Just prevent that thing from attacking at all. They're going to trade. That's fine. We just go ahead and attack in. We can heal 2 damage from the base, deal 1 damage to their base. No aggressive negotiations. We're kind of playing a little bit more of a value game plan here. Okay, no disintegrations. They're going to kill it, so we're going to pass. Get the extra card from Jin for sure. Would like that extra card. Thank you very much. Yep, let's draw. Okay, aggressive negotiations. That's what I want. Discarded the Ray. It's fun playing out a Ray. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're 1 card off from one-shotting Vader. A little bit unfortunate for that, but we'll keep all of our cards in hand. There's the Darth Nihilus. Oh. Anakin. Yeah, nice. Okay. So now we go ahead and we go Rebellious Hammerhead. I'm doing this first because I can attack and deal 4 damage to the base instead. They're going to claim initiative. We're going to pass. Don't need to resource anything. Aggressive negotiations. Okay, they got single reactor ignition. Sure. Let's go ahead and draw an extra card here. Let's play another play here. They could discard 2 cards to kill off our X-Wing. They're not going to. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, let's go aggressive negotiations in. If they attack, discard all the cards, kill red 5. Okay, we're going to go with Sabine's Masterpiece here. Another space unit, just to avoid my opponent entirely. And then we got 2 lethal space units, so we'll see. No disintegrations. I mean, we're going to claim. Let's see what my opponent's got. Yeah, they got nothing. Definitely more of a controlling game plan. I thought it was going to be Aggressive Negotiations Mirror Part 2, but this is a different spin on things. And I mean, I think just Aggressive Negotiations is just a broken card. So I think just every deck should be playing Aggressive Negotiations regardless of aspect, honestly. You know, I mean, if here's the thing. If your opponent, we'll talk more about this in the wrap up, but it's just a broken card. I mean, the comparison is not even there. Like, honestly, if my opponent had Aggressive Negotiations, it's a scary situation because, you know, they've got, let's say, 4 cards in hand. They Aggressive Negotiations and it's suddenly attacked for 10. They discard all 4. I die, right? Again, that's if they had 4 other cards in hand. Like, technically in this situation, I wouldn't die but they could choose like not to have resourced in the couple of extra turns to play to that Aggressive Negotiations. It's just disgusting. It's just a disgusting card, is what it is. All right, guys, what do we learn with Jin? Well, like I said, Jin is an Aggressive Negotiations deck. There were a couple of games there where Jin did nothing, really. You know, you just sit down, your opponent's got Cheofane, you got Cheofane, you got Red Squadron X-Wing. That's how you're drawing your cards. Aggressive Negotiation still hits in for 6 + 6 + 7, something like that. Just an obnoxious amount, right? It's just an Aggressive Negotiations game meta right now. On the other hand, there were some games where Jin would pick up, you know, a couple extra cards, draws 2, 3, 4 cards. More importantly, I think the thing that's actually really, really strong with Jin as a leader is picking up Rey. You know, when you do get those options to actually grab Rey in those critical moments, that can absolutely shift a game in your advantage. You know, like I said, in some games it was +3, +4 cards, which does help out Aggressive Negotiations. In other games, it was kind of nothing. Overall, I mean, this is much more of, okay, Aggressive Negotiation is just a dumb card. I mean, in every deck, you should just be playing it. Because if you're in a situation where your opponent's playing like Max Rebo or Cheofane and you're both drawing cards, like the decks that are playing Aggressive Negotiations as the core win con are playing Cheofane. And in situations like that, having even just 2 copies of Aggressive Negotiation, if you draw that, even if you're playing it for 5, you may have a bunch of cards in from Cheofane and could surprise win from your side of the battlefield, right? That's just where we find ourselves. Kanan was absolutely clutch in some of those games for sure. Definitely some missequencing in some of those games for myself. You know, we probably could have won that one game with when we had this set of ferocity against Luke. You know, that's very possible. I don't know what they had in hand. I mean, it's certainly possible that we could not have won, right? But who knows? All I know is that I should have sequenced that just a little bit different because that would have allowed us to get rid of the Luke much more efficiently. But I don't know. Is this something that people like? You know, I find Aggressive Negotiations a fun card. I find it to be a fun card in general. I've mentioned in previous sets or in the previous set where, you know, it's just like a very, very fun card to play. You just play decks that are built around this card. I mean, we've been doing it for months at this point. Like Thrawn, double death triggers, things like that. But the meta has devolved to everyone plays aggressive negotiations and whoever draws it wins. Because there's so many drawing effects these days, I don't know. Is this a meta that people like? I mean, you saw some of those games, right? Like 2 ships in the night, aggressive negotiations. I'm 1 point of damage short. Dang, you win. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I'll probably do some more videos on aggressive negotiations because it's such a prominent theme in the meta right now. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all for the next one.